button, and let's get started. And 3, 2, 1, go. Alright everyone, welcome back. This is Railcoon and Cats with the Root Warzone. This time we are covering the winners of the first match as they try and continue on towards qualification. Will the winner of this automatically be qualified for the top 16? I think that's how it works.
I believe so, yes.
So basically these players want to try and win this game because it will give them a free pass directly into the tournament. See that Machine is going to be his usual pink Zerg at the 6 o'clock location. And Kiwikaki is going to be the orange Protoss at 9. Close air spawns, slightly longer by ground. We'll see what happens. Cannon openings or cannon forge openings are very common right now in Protoss versus Zerg.
Indeed.
But once again, you should visit root-gaming.com, as this is the Root Warzone. Putting hits under our website will help us a lot while we look for sponsors. They do like to see that your website has traffic. And you should visit dreamhost.com. They are the main sponsor of this tournament and a sponsor of Root Gaming. They have been absolutely wonderful so far. So if you need any sort of web hosting, you should look into them, as they have just done an excellent job for us so far. But,
I do.
You know, so far you can see Machine scouting around. He actually does this thing that he does sometimes. Machine does not always scout the close air positions. So he does have his Overlord flying over the close ground, and his 2 Overlords will get there at about the same time. So it means that he doesn't have to send out a drone quite as quickly, and he's going to send one out a little bit later to the cross spawn.
Yeah, however, I would have liked this play even more if Machine had gone for a fast hatchery here, because this type of scouting is gonna make Kiwikaki scout Machine at the last possible spawn. There's other things you can do, like chilling with your Overlord in between bases to scout that probe as he tries to scout you. But either way, Machine playing very safe with the dropping the pool first, as the Stalker harass and the cannon play is quite common by the Protosses of the world nowadays. So pretty standard thus far. Yeah,
we do see a cybernetics core from Kiwikaki instead of a second gateway or a forge. Second gas going down very quickly for Kiwi, though, right as the drone leaves. So he might be going for something a little bit aggressive on the tech route. We'll have to see what, in fact, he does once this cybernetics core finishes, if he'll go straight to a robotics, or maybe go 2-gate into Twilight Council, or go straight into the Twilight Council with the fastest possible link. A lot of possibilities in what could be happening here from Kiwikaki with this second gas.
You could also go for like the fastest 3 warp gate ever, and stuff like that. Definitely, though, for Machine, this is good information because he doesn't have to expect Stalker harass now. I mean, he can drone pretty hard, at least for a little bit. However, Machine did drop pull first, so this again is pretty nice play by Kiwikaki, not committing to anything Stalker related this early on, as it would probably prove ineffective. However, Machine does drop Spinecrawler rather fast, seeing that he has scouted this as it is so far. And Kiwikaki dropping a forward pylon, which is probably going to mean he's going for a fast expand, and the extra gas is going to serve him to make sentries, so that he's able to try and defend any aggressive push by Machine.
Yeah, so he does have the second and third gateway on the way. 3-gate into an expansion is a very common play, so it does look like you are correct. That is most likely what he's going to be going for. You know, the 3-gate allows him to defend most pushes that you might get super early from the Zerg player, and you can even push out and maybe put a little bit of pressure onto your opponent while you're making that Nexus to try and secure it. We'll see if he goes for that or if he's just going to make sentries and sit at home. Both are rather common, but like you said, with a pool first, you have to expect a quick speedling build from your opponent. So most likely just going to see him sitting in his at his natural expansion, just making sure he can get that up all right, and then we'll see what his further plan is for this game. But Machine, he is known for being sort of a macro-y player, liking to make lots of drones, sitting back, going for the late game. So Kiwikaki could even be going for just a super late game strategy here, where he thinks he can get some sort of an advantage, seeing as he's not really being aggressive at all. just sitting in his base, getting a Forge and Hallucination. Forge is great because the Forge upgrades are just amazing for Protoss, and Hallucination will allow him to scout around, see what's going on, without really having to leave his base.
And Kiwikaki here, or rather Machine here, going rather greedy on the drones, which I like very, very much. And he's quite saturated on both bases. He could use the extra drones on the gas. I don't think that would hurt him at all. He hasn't been using that second gas at his main yet. He is upgrading roach speed as he gears up to take 2 extra gases on his natural. So we might see some Evo chambers here soon for upgrades, or a Hydralisk then. As he is going roaches, which makes it unlikely for him to go Muta. But holy crap, his machine's macro good.
Yeah.
Look at that many drones.
Yeah, and if you look at his Queen energy, he is keeping that very low. You can see that the natural expansion hatchery is going to finish, and the Queen's not even going to have 25 energy. It has 24 there for a second. He ejects it back down to 1.
I love it.
So he's doing an amazing job so far.
Well, it's been a rather uneventful game, but yeah, both players just being safe and executing their strategy without further problems. Everything seems to be going according to their plan, to both of their plans. So we shall wait. Whose plan is a plan? I don't know.
If you look into Kiwikaki's base, though, there are double Stargates on the way. His +1 weapons in his Forge is getting close to about half done. Now he's working on destroying the rocks at the gold. Right after Machine did the same thing. So both players are still sort of macroing up a bit, but these double Stargates are giving us a clue on what's going on for Kiwikaki. We have Void Rays coming from both Stargates and a robotics facility being dropped at the same time as his natural.
I'll tell you from my experience, Void Rays, Kiwikaki is loving Void Rays PvZ lately, and they are nasty late game. Nasty. As they don't take that much, or rather their base damage is better. They're so much better in large numbers where they're not able to charge and just like in direct battle than they were before.
Yeah.
Because you can actually use them and they'll actually like do damage from the start rather than having to charge while your army destroys his. So a lot of people were saying the Void Rays were nerfed. When the Void Ray quote-unquote nerf came around, Kiwikaki said they're not worse, they're just different.
Yeah. And one of the things that we might see is Corruptors especially take a ton of damage from Void Rays now. And with this robotics facility, I'm curious to see if he's going to go for Void Ray Colossus play. Because I have seen that from a couple different Protoss players recently, including Kiwikaki.
I've seen him go Colossus with it. I've seen him go Storm with it. I like better personally, but he's getting the robotics facility anyways because he needs that observer, I presume, or wants to be safe against any sort of burrowed roach or anything like that, which is rather useful against force fields. And force fields is basically all he has right now.
Yeah. And you can see the Machine still has a ton of roaches. He has some Hydralisks on the way. Range upgrade is almost done. So he's going pretty much just Roach Hydra at the moment. We'll see if he continues to make use of this robotics facility or not. But if he does get Storm, is able to storm those Hydralisks and then just kill everything else with the Void Rays while he force fields out the roaches, that would be a really disgusting unit combination.
Kiwikaki gets a pretty invincible army late game this time. This time around, Zerg versus Protoss versus Zerg. His main weakness, I find, is timing attacks with roaches and things like that. He kind of hates roaches early game, but I'm pretty sure that he's happy he's going into the late game, even if he or when he is behind economically. But actually, he just pulled ahead in the worker count. So Machine has had a huge army lead for the last couple minutes. We'll see if he chooses to do something, because as the later it gets, those Void Rays are going to be more effective, and Machine, I don't think, has any idea. of what Kiwikaki is doing right now.
Yeah, he's still not making anything out of this robotics facility. There's still no sign of a Twilight Council or a robotics bay. He's just got a lot of sentries and a ton of Void Rays. Oh, but he runs straight into the army of Machine, throws down a couple defensive force fields, and tries to make it back home. If he can force field off this tight choke point, there we go. He will be able to get these ground forces away, and that's very crucial. Keeping these ground units alive is going to keep him in this game.
Kiwikaki would move like this is because he knows he has force fields. I'm curious to see if he was baiting Machine's army, if that's what he was going for. So defensive force fields there, not a misclick. He's just trying to make a nice wall, and gonna pick up one Hydralisk, but this is a huge army by Machine.
Yeah, nice force fields there, doing a good job of chopping some of those forces so that they cannot get into battle. He's trying to whittle down this Hydra count, and then he backs off before he can really lose too much. You can see that there's not a whole lot of Hydralisks left. The +1 weapons upgrade on the Void Rays is close to finishing as well. All of the Hydras are down, so now these Roaches will die to the Void Rays. The question is, how much damage is he going to take while they're being killed?
Very nice job by Machine splitting his army to take Kiwikaki's gold. This is what's gonna keep him in the game, as he's basically saying, okay, I'll trade you my army for your economy, because my economy is pretty good right now. I can rebuild my army, can you? And Kiwikaki is gonna be like, I don't know, dude, but I got a lot of Void Rays, so
yeah,
chill. And we'll see how this game goes on. It's pretty exciting so far. Machine is slightly in the army lead, or rather in the unit counting station, but Kiwikaki does have a lot of Void Rays, and now is retaking his gold.
Yeah, and if you look, he has a ton of gateways. He's going to be able to make a ground force very, very quickly. You can see he's warping in a lot of zealots. I'm thinking that charge would be really good with this, just because he has so many minerals floating. Being able to dump those into to zealots, have them charge in on the Roaches and Hydras, while the Void Rays are trying to kill everything else.
Because he needs the minerals for the Void Rays. He's not warping units because that's what he's saving for, to make more and more Void Rays, I believe. He could have warped an entire army worth of units. That's what the gateways are going to be there for. So the reason when you see Kiwikaki go to 1,000 minerals, it's not because his macro sucks.
Yeah.
Because he's saving up to react appropriately.
Yeah, so, and he has enough warp gates to warp in basically whatever he needs. Here comes a lot of Hydralisks for Machine, though. That's a ton of Hydralisks. He's going to have to use his Guardian Shield and the Force Fields very nicely. Look at the Void Rays hanging out in the Guardian Shield. Excellent job to reduce the damage of the Hydralisks, because they do have a high rate of fire. +1 weapons upgrades on these Void Rays are doing a lot in helping to focus down these Hydralisks. Machine... just Void expanding rate everywhere.
Kills, 7 kills, 8 kills, 8 kills, 14 kills, 8 kills, 9 kills, 11 kills. Those are pretty deadly Void Rays. And Kiwikaki, I don't think has lost a Void Ray yet. He might have lost one, but I missed it.
Yeah, he's lost maybe 1 or 2, but he's kept most of them alive.
Yeah, he just lets Machine hit his Void Rays up until the point where they lose their shields, and that's it. Of course, here he's gonna 3 Void Rays, prove me wrong, but that's because he was trying to kill that hatchery to not let Machine get in a huge lead, while he takes the lead himself in the expansion count. That is, if Machine doesn't retake that expansion soon, which he is, of course, being the amazing player that he is.
Yeah, and you can see that Machine's spending a lot of minerals and drones on making spore crawlers at this expansion, which is, going to set him behind economically as well. Just going to allow Kiwikaki to take that lead. He takes out the other base here at 3 o'clock. So Kiwikaki's doing really well. He still hasn't really made any tech besides just warp gates and Void Rays.
And ideally for Kiwikaki, he would have Void Ray speed right now, and he'd be able to harass a lot easier and a lot more. I've seen him get Mothership with a Void Race, which is quite ridiculous as well, as he just uses it for recalling the Void Race when they get in the top spot. But yeah, right now he can't. He couldn't afford speed before because he was being so incredibly defensive, and now he's gonna poke in at Machine's main, and Machine is just gonna go from behind. I really like this move by Machine, but how is he gonna defend his main?